Hi, Sarah Pacaro, Rapid Transformational Therapist and Hypnotherapist. Today we're going to talk about those scars you can't see, those invisible scars. It's really easy to see physical scars, right? I've got one right here, and my daughter will play with this and ask me, Mama, what happened? And I tell her. Not a cool or interesting story. I had a mole there and it started to get like a black dot on it, and they thought it might be turning into something else. So I tell her I went to the doctor and they sliced it off and did a biopsy on it. It was fine. It was nothing. But now I have this scar. Now I have this showing of that past experience. The experience was having a mole removed. Simple as that. But this is a physical scar. It doesn't impact me as much as the invisible scars. Those invisible scars are the ones that leave the most damage, the ones that hurt the most. What those invisible scars are from those experiences of childhood that didn't leave a physical mark. They left an emotional mark. And what that is that those are the things, those invisible scars are the things that impact you the most today. If you have a physical scar, I've got them all over my elbows and my knees from riding bikes and falling down, right? Cut my elbow or my knee open and it healed. There's a process to healing as well, but it's different than healing physically from something when you're going through an emotionally healing journey. And there's different methods and ways to go through it. A lot of people will go talk to a therapist about what they think causes. Well, I was riding my bike and I fell down and cut myself open. It's different when you're getting into the emotional healing realm. There's not a book out there that you can read about it that just suddenly makes sense. Oh, that's right. Clean it out, put a Band-Aid on it. Don't pick the scab. It'll be better in no time. You may have a mark, but you'll feel better. Emotional healing is very different. And those physical scars are very different than those emotional scars, those invisible scars. Because they're inside, they're internal. And you think, oh, it's healed. This happened when I was 10. Happened almost 3 decades ago. It's gone, right? I've moved over. I've moved on. I'm over it. There's no scab or anything to pick at anymore. Emotional scars are different. Those invisible scars are very different. Those are the things that are still impacting you today. The things that are causing you to feel scared, feel anxious, to live in fear. And you may not be aware that they're still impacting you, but they are. If you knew at your core that you were enough, exactly as you are, because of those past experiences, everything would be different today. Your personality, the way you live your life, the motivation, the feeling that you have when you open up your eyes in the morning. So many people that I work with say, I just lie in bed and I just, another day. And then immediately their thoughts start to ruminate and become critical and feel heavy. And they immediately feel like they're drowning. Each day is a new day, is a gift. But if those invisible scars, those emotional scars are still there, you don't see it as a gift. Because they're impeding your ability to make it through the day or see it in the positive light, and they leave you feeling like you're still in the dark. And the reason why so many of us still live in fear is because of those invisible emotional scars. Because you're afraid of what you're going to see when you open up and you finally look in the closet and you see all that crap, all that emotional baggage, all those things that you've been avoiding dealing with because you've been too scared, too afraid, and you've been keeping yourself busy, right? You've been using things to numb, whether it's substances or behaviors to numb so that you don't have to open up that closet and air it out and allow it what it needs to do to heal. You can't heal what you can't feel, and you've been avoiding feeling that, right? You've been picking at that emotional scar, and it's been showing up in your relationships, it's been showing up in your jobs, in the connections with friends, with families, leaving you feeling afraid, feeling disconnected, leaving you feeling anxious, avoiding all of that. And what we do when those invisible emotional scars are still there and they build up, right? It's kind of like a physical scar. It's built up with scar tissue. If you had surgery or something on your knee and you've got a ton of scar tissue in it, you couldn't go out and run or move or exercise the way that you did before that event because that scar tissue builds up and it impedes your ability to move forward. Same thing with emotional scars. The process is the same. And so you become dependent, you become needy, you become avoidant. You detach from others. You detach from yourself, physically, emotionally. Because inside of you is that person who's striving, that knows their abilities, knows that part of your brain, that right side of your brain, that creative, imaginative side of your brain that hopes and dreams and kind of takes you off into that daydreaming place, that part of you that comes up with solutions. And you can use that to break through those emotional scars if you're willing. And many people say, well, how do I do that? Isn't that like letting go? How do you let go? You can use your inner mind, your subconscious mind, to heal those emotional scars, those invisible scars that are now preventing you from being able to move forward. And that's all it is. It's like that emotional scar tissue is the buildup. It's like that fear, that anxiety is a result of the anger that you've repressed, that guilt, that shame that you're holding on to, or feeling afraid to truly express your feelings due to the additional worry of abandonment. Maybe one of those emotional scars that you have is because of an experience of abandonment. Maybe it's become a parent's divorce. Maybe one of your parents was an addict and they weren't there for you. Maybe you thought they were there for you and they provided for you, but they were gone a lot. They worked a lot. So a lot of this is due to these negative past experiences, just like this scar is from over 25 years ago. This one was from when I was in high school. These are physical scars, but these emotional and visible scars are due to these past experiences, our childhood experiences. I'm not talking child like 3 years old. Maybe it was when you're 20 years old, 30 years old. It just depends on where you're at now, right? Rather than accept these experiences from the past, most of us, we become neurotic. We avoid. We do anything to avoid that, to avoid facing our anxieties. And we develop these personality traits like this perfectionism. You're not going to do anything unless you know you're going to be perfect at it. You develop codependency. You're always depending and relying on other people. Or you would just pretend. You pretend that you're fine, you're happy, you smile when people say, how are you? And you go, I'm good. And inside you're dying. You pretend that you have no anxiety, no scars at all. And really, you've got lots of them, but you're not giving them what they need to heal. If you're a woman, maybe you feel like this expectation from society, like you're a mom and you've got to have it all together and you've got to do it all. And maybe it's unladylike to express yourself, or you're told that you're a type A personality, or that you're a bitch if you stand up for yourself or you implement boundaries. And of course you don't want to be seen as snotty or manipulative or controlling, because, right, isn't that what the toxic person is? So no, I'm going to be the opposite of that. But the truth is, you're worried about hurting other people's feelings. Maybe you feel smothered, or that you're bothering people by opening up, by connecting, by being vulnerable and speaking your truth. Men experience this too. I mean, it's not a man-woman thing, because we're all humans and we all have the same basic needs, the emotional needs and all of that. Maybe men feel anger, they feel aggression, and they may not know how to channel that fear without becoming more and more aggressive, because men specifically have been conditioned to believe that they're not supposed to have or show any emotions at all. And so anger surfaces in different ways. So really, healing those invisible scars, those emotional scars, is like what you would do when you fix a car, right? Like the check engine light comes on or the warning light comes on. Most of us avoid it. Maintenance required. And you continue driving your car down the road. What it takes is actually seeing the light, stopping and going, okay, I need to do something. Something needs to be updated, changed, or fixed. And that something is like looking underneath the hood, like taking your car to a shop. And most people will go to traditional therapy and take the car to the shop, so to speak, and say, well, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know, it's making this really weird noise. It's like, when I try to drive it. Okay. Well, I bet that's frustrating. Yeah, it really is. And you're there hoping that you'll get a solution, but then it's like, well, come back next week and we'll talk about it some more. It's very limited. Sometimes it feels good that someone else knows, okay, something needs to be done. I thought I was here to get something done. And you find it's a waste of time, or you feel even more frustrated because you leave and the light is still on. That is where Rapid Transformational Therapy and hypnotherapy, hypnosis, is very different, because it gets right to the root of it and allows you to go in and fix it and heal those invisible emotional scars. Because what it is it's from a past experience that has you say, okay, this is still impacting me. Something needs to be changed. Something needs to be different. And if you realized what that something was, or it was in a book or a group, you would have fixed it by now, right? Yeah, imagine. Because it's not fun to live with all of those experiences. So you've got to take a look at what lies beneath. Not just see that the light is on and keep driving, but really stop. Take the car into the shop and diagnose it and heal those invisible scars. And not just continue driving down the road saying, no, it's not a big deal, right? I'll drive it till the wheels fall off. Well, your car is going to last much longer if you take care of it. You will last much longer if you take care of yourself. You'll be a better role model for your friends, your family, your kids, and stop living in fear and anxiety and finally live the life that you want to live, free from all that stuff. Not to say it will never impact you ever again, but it won't hold you back the way that it has been. So that is what's different. When you go within and you see where you've been avoiding, really opening up yourself to love, nurturance, protection, and healed those scars of abandonment, neglect, all those unmet needs that you're still holding within you, that you're pretending the light's not on for. That's the difference. So that's where you're at. I would love to connect. Maybe I hope that this analogy and metaphor resonated with you. And it is time to heal those emotional scars, those invisible scars, because they're much more relevant than these physical scars. These, yeah, there's a story to them. The other ones, there's an even deeper story to them, a more important story to write the ending, or rewrite the ending for. Thank you guys, and I hope to connect soon. If you're looking for a way to connect, just simply click on the banner. It'll open up my schedule so we can connect and talk, and or just send me a message through here.